I'm just so excited about the direction it's going in. I feel like I'm pulling some new colors out of myself. So.
This is Ben from Real Ones.
This is Ellie from Real Ones.
And we're here with... We're here at the Long Hair Don't Care show, brought to you by Love and Nappiness. We wanted to start with a hair question.
Yes, Ravyn. So I saw you perform at, I believe, Metro last year. And I know you had a hairstylist by the name of Sexy Scalps do your hair.
Yeah.
Can I get a rundown of who did your hair today? Or just like a whole outfit?
Same person did my hair. What's funny is we actually went to high school together.
Yeah.
So it feels like a full circle moment for me when I come back to Chicago and she does my hair. But she's just so creative. I was telling her, like, how do you come up with this stuff and do this with your hands, like out of thin air? So it's something really special about her that I think, you know, is meaningful for me when I come back home.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think she does an amazing job. You know, it looks stunning.
I did want to talk about the red hair, of course. We actually just talked to Veda. She's got red hair, and do you know who that is?
No, I don't.
Veda is really fire.
Okay.
One of the best female rappers out right now.
Okay, I gotta check
up and
her
coming.
out.
I feel like next year is her year for real.
She's from Chicago?
Nah, not from Chicago, from Atlanta. But
Atlanta.
Yeah, she was here with V's, but basically like it's been a couple redheads that have come through. You know, I feel very seen. But so. How long have you've had the red hair for a minute, you know, pre-Ice Spice, you know, what has it meant to you, like the color specifically?
I've had red hair since I want to say like 14. I was kind of being back home and like being at my grandmother's house in her basement. I was reminiscing about the first time I dyed my hair red and she did it for me, like over the sink and like the colors getting everywhere, all over my forehead. But there was something so special about that that's like carried me, and I just got attached to it. I think there's something really passionate about red, and I like people to get that feeling off of me, you know, through my music and through the way I present myself. So
definitely conveyed. Yeah. The whole concept of tonight was charity fundraiser for a lot of houseless organizations for the South and West Sides. You know, you had you know, participated in a lot of like after school matters programs growing up. So I mean, just how does it feel to like be able to be part of this? Like, do you resonate with the mission a lot?
Absolutely, because I don't know, it's important for people to have those type of opportunities, and you know, having programs like that for kids from the South Side, Black kids from the South Side and West Sides, was such an eye-opener for me. And being able to go to, for some kids, that was their first time, you know, downtown or exploring the city in that way, or just the simple fact of learning that you can earn money from doing art, you know. So I think that taught us all something valuable. So
there was that stipend, right?
It's a stipend, I spent my first, I think it was like $350. I spent it on studio time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So was that the classic?
Is that classic?
Studio?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That was all my money.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then the ball got rolling from
like...
there. The rest is history.
Exactly.
You had your first EP come out back in 2016.
Yeah.
You know, and then 2 more EPs after that first one, right? They were all released, you hadn't even turned 20 yet.
Yeah.
So like, do you feel like you grew up a little too fast? Like that was kind of like forced onto you? Had to like mature, I guess, at an earlier age?
I don't know if force is the word.
Yeah, maybe not that.
Or growing up too fast. I think there's always been like I've been around grown people for a minute. Like all my friends are a little older, and like I was the only child for a little bit, and just being around older people and around older music. And so I kind of had that spirit in me already. But I do think there's certain parts of the music industry that can stiffen your growth a little bit, or make you insecure about things that you shouldn't be insecure about at 16 or 17 or 18. So I think having to grow up kind of with the public or with people is a beautiful thing, but can also be a little isolating.
Can you chime in a little bit more about like the insecurities you faced and how you kind of overcame them?
Yeah, I think for one, the thing with trust and just growing up as a woman, a Black woman, finding that trust in yourself is already difficult, you know, in your decisions, in your vision, in your eye, in your opinion, you know. So then when you welcome a million voices who have their idea of what they want you to be or how you should do things, it can become dizzying. So I think now, approaching 25, I'm feeling more kind of in tune with my inner voice and what I feel. And I think that's, reflected in the music I'm making right now. So
how do you prep yourself for like a show, Because like for me, when I have something big to do that I may be a little nervous about, I do a lot of like self affirmations, a lot of journaling. Do you do any of that before you go on stage?
That's a great question that people have been asking me, and I feel like because my time management is sometimes a little off, that a lot of times I'm going straight from like glam to stage. But I'm trying to figure out a better system where I can have those moments, with myself. It's important to have some type of regimen before you do something like going.
I mean, in general, self-care, what is the biggest thing you do that falls under that? It doesn't have to be before a show, just in general.
I think one of the main things right now, I was rewatching Insecure.
Okay.
You gotta get on the train. Yeah. When I first watched it, I was like, I don't know, maybe 16, 17. So now rewatching it and kind of our ages are starting to align, with the characters in the show. So certain things are clicking differently for me. And one of the main things that stuck out to me, I remember watching a scene with the main character Issa and her best friend Mollie, and they were like in the bed together, like kind of combing each other's hair. And I was like, I don't think I've had that kind of sisterly feeling with other women besides my sisters before. So I think developing kind of intimate relationships with other women is something that's really important to me right now in my journey of, womanhood. So when I saw that scene, I was like, I don't think I've had that before. And that's something that I really would like to feel,
No, it's a really nice feeling just having someone that isn't, your blood relative, but you trust them with literally every single part of your life.
That's been a form of self-care for me when I get around my girlfriends and we can watch something crazy on TV and just cackle or take trips together and just have conversations,
I love that. I love that answer. On where I'm from with Mariba, how do you feel about claiming your femininity and kind of creating an identity for yourself? Like you said, as a Black woman in hip hop, R&B, or just coming from Chicago.
And you had said on stage, right, it's sort of like this song kind of represents like where all of us are from collectively, which is like a cool way to connect with the audience and stuff.
Right, yeah. For Hypnos, it was important for me to have a moment on the project where I'm kind of touching on the subject of, Black people in America not knowing where they come from and how that in itself can create so many identity issues. What's grounding for me is knowing that my mom is first generation, my family is of Panamanian descent and Caribbean descent. Having somewhere to go and claim as, mine, or being able to attach myself to a certain history or music and food is something that's really special, and I really try to nurture that because a lot of people don't know. So I think that inspired that song, and it's something that I'm still cultivating within myself.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah, exactly.
I wanted to go back a little bit. I grew up in New York. I was in high school, like listening to this Moonshoes EP, and Recess was one of the tracks. Like I was listening to that on the bus, like on the way to and from school, and I was like, it just felt so real to me. Even if you necessarily have, of course, like me in mind, but like it's something that's very, relatable. It's kind of talking about like another girl. So was that sort of like a personal experience you had?
It wasn't a personal experience, but I think at that time I wanted to capture like that kind of giddy feeling that you have in like middle school when a boy comes to school and has a crush on a girl but doesn't know how to really approach her, so you're doing stupid shit like pinching her or like
crunch bar.
Right, exactly. But what's funny is that so many adults like relate to that. And I think
sometimes it's hard to learn. There's something really sweet about that. It's like
I love that. I feel like it taps into like that innocent part of all of us. I try to do that with my music.
That definitely took hold at the very beginning. So like you just dropped your debut album. You just went on this tour. with Unusual Demont for like a few stops, right?
Yeah.
We actually did his first ever interview back in 2020.
Yeah.
When he had like first dropped that song Amber.
Yeah.
And we just like knew his manager. So that was crazy to see like that link up.
Yeah. Honestly, my booking agent put me on to him. And I thought he was amazing. He was so sweet.
Yeah.
His team is so sweet. He's also from Wisconsin.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Got the Midwest connect.
Yeah,
for sure.
so that was like a thing for me. His tour, I think his manager or tour manager was from Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just had a good time. We had a good time.
So Chicago, you grew up in Chicago. What is that one feeling that coming home, whether it's for a performance or just to see your family, that Chicago gives you?
I think whenever I'm here, I'm like kind of transported back to like my middle school and like high school memories of like first like digging into music and finding what my style was. And I think the people, the artists here, just the city backdrop is something that was really inspiring for me. It still is, you know. Even here, like I was driving around listening to my new music and like trying to invigorate that same feeling in myself that I had when I was like writing songs in my grandma's basement, you know. Yeah, the city is still very important in that aspect to me.
And you keep talking about school.
Yeah.
I know you went to Shy Arts, but I know you were also part of HHW, the vocal ensemble. With After School Matters. How was that experience, just kind of like singing in a choir? How does that apply to your layering with your music today?
I love singing in a choir. I was just telling a musician I'm working with. That's one of the main things.
Give me the scoop.
That's the main thing I miss from school. Singing with other voices, having to blend with the people next to you. I love the music we were singing in school. And he was like, why don't you just join an adult choir? And I was like, maybe I do that. Like, would you come to the recital? But I do miss the art of having to blend, you know, and create one voice out of like 100. So I think that definitely had to do a lot with my style of layering and like the different parts and how they move together and how this one may be going up and this one down, but it makes sense, you know? For sure.
So this is Real Ones. We always ask everybody to shout out a real one in their life, you know, somebody that means a lot to them.
Yeah, just shout out a real one.
Maybe it's a couple people.
It could be a plethora. I would say my mama. I love my mama. We best friends. Day one supporter. At no point did she ever discourage me or make me feel like it wasn't the right path. And I think that's so special and rare.
We were just talking about that on the way here.
Oh, really?
So Ellie's sort of like getting into the photography space and all of that. So the support that comes from parentals, how that affects everything.
It changes everything. It changes everything, yeah.
We like to also ask folks about sort of underrated artists, you know, that they've been listening to. So is there anyone you could think of that's like has under 100,000 listeners on Spotify that is just amazing that folks just have to check out? Someone that's underrated too. I do like the number of it because I do like, you know, I do like the idea of an artist like really rising up in the future, but it's a general thing too.
100,000 listeners. I will have to look at my Spotify. I'm sorry. I'm bad with numbers.
It didn't used to be a numbers thing. I was trying something new.
Anybody I think is underrated? I would say one of my close friends, Arima Adara. She makes beautiful music, and I'm so excited for the world to hear what she has to offer. She actually just released an album, was it a year ago? Almost a year ago. But I think she just has a special voice and a special message. Yeah.
Well, you heard it from somebody with a special voice herself, you know, Ravyn Lenae.
Last question. It's a new year. Hate to be cliche, but what's next in line?
What's next for
Ravyn Lenae?
That's a good question. Obviously making more music. That's always happening.
Any collaborations?
We gonna wait.
Okay.
I want it to be a surprise, for real. Okay. I'm just so excited about the direction it's going in. I feel like I'm pulling some new colors out of myself. So
I'm excited. I'm excited. Wonderful. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you for
having me. This is so much fun. Beautiful.
Thank y'all so much for watching. This has been Real Ones with Ravyn Lenae. Peace.